But I remember when I finished uni and I was graduating, so my grandmother made a joke. They said, now that you're done with school, can we cut you just a little bit? Because we often say when we do our advocacy that FGM is a barrier to girls getting education. So she was making the joke in the lightness of, now that you're done, see you can do it.
Oh, Lord.
See you could. And I thought to myself,
that's dark.
I know. And I was like, what a privilege that I've never actually had to worry that if I go on holiday, they might cut me, that they might cut me and marry me off because that's one of the things that happens. I've never had to worry about my family going against my autonomy of my body and my right to choose. And that's a privilege.
That's a privilege.
And that's a privilege that out of every 100 girls and women in my community, 78 don't get to choose. Right?
Yeah. And it shouldn't be a privilege.
Imagine.
It shouldn't be a privilege. It should be respect to the woman's body. Like,
exactly.
Hello all. I hope you're doing amazing. How has your week been? Have you been okay? Have you drunk enough water? Unchecked Notification is here once again, powered by Stretchers Youth Organization. Now, today we are here again with another young person where we are going to tackle issues that we feel we are being ignored as young people. Now, culture is something that we live with day in, day out. It's part of us from each and every aspect, from our homes to our friends, to our workplaces, our communities, economically as well. Culture is something that heavily drives us as human beings. But now as the youth, we're coming to a point where we're questioning culture. Is it culture or is it control? And is it benefiting somebody, or who exactly is it benefiting? Because if something is benefiting one person, it is definitely bringing another person down. So we are here to have this conversation. Malika Ouma is my name and I shall be your host. Now, our guest for today, as usual, I do not introduce people. They have to do it for themselves. Tell your story so that your story is not told for you. And the amazing Val that we have here, the second Val that we have, mind you, is here to tackle this issue of culture, especially when it comes to SR-HR relations. And yes, we are going to have Val give us an introduction about who she is. So welcome, first of all, to Unchecked Notification.
Thank you so much for having me. It's so amazing getting to work with you again. Yes. So my name is Valerina Siekululuju. I'm a youth development consultant. I run my own consultancy firm where I do advise organizations and individuals on matters sexual, reproductive health and rights, whether it's programs or advocacy. I'm also a youth advocate around issues, sexual, reproductive health and rights. I also serve at the Youth Anti-FGM Network as the deputy coordinator. This is a network of young people across the 22 hotspot counties that still perpetuate female genital mutilation. Super excited to be part of this conversation today.
Thank you so much. I'm more excited to have you here. Umumesikia hizo accolades. You've had all of the titles. No, what was you saying the youth for not doing anything? Thank you so much for just giving me your time and making time also to be here. I'm very excited for this conversation. Vitu zitakuwa moto. Hiyo nayo ninajua. So as we were talking earlier, one of the main reasons why you are specifically here is because you are directly fighting a cultural norm, if I can call it that. You're fighting a cultural norm that is harmful at some point, especially because it is an SRHR issue. Yes. So let's dive into, tell me more about what cultural norm are you fighting and why did you choose to fight this norm?
Okay. So I am on set today specifically to talk about female genital mutilation. I really love that you put culture into quotes because in the advocacy space, we are really trying to move away from just calling it a culture to actually calling it a violation against women and girls, because then, culture is a cute thing.
Yeah.
Right? So when we explicitly just call it cultural, it removes the heaviness of what FGM really is, which is a grave violation against women and girls.
Yeah.
So for context, I am from, my roots are both Samburu and Maasai. So these are both communities that still highly, highly practice female genital mutilation. In Kenya, we have 47 counties, right?
Yeah.
22 of them still practice.
22.
Yes.
I didn't even know that.
FGM. And for example, in Samburu, overall in Kenya, the prevalence is at 14%. Like a lot of work has been done. You see that? And guess there's so much work that has been done to even get it to 14%. But in places like Samburu, we are still at 78%. So it means out of every 100 women, 78 of them have gone through the cut. And to get back to your question on why I'm here or why this is one of the grave violations against women that I fight against, this is so funny, right? Because my mom has been in this space for about 15 years as well. So when I was around 8 years old, there was already conversations around FGM in my home. But it's different. The conversations were not about me going through FGM. It was about her work against FGM. I did go with her to work a lot. I did know that my community was among the communities that practiced FGM. But, fun fact, I really never had to ever think that is something that I have to go through. I understand that it's a grave violation, right? And I don't have this one specific time that I can tell you my brain switched and got me into the activism against FGM. But I remember when I finished uni and I was graduating, so my grandmother made a joke and said, now that you're done with school, can we cut you just a little bit? Because we often say when we do our advocacy that FGM is a barrier to girls getting education. So she was making the joke in the lightness of, now that you're done, see you
can do it. Oh, Lord.
See you could. And I thought to myself,
that's dark.
I know. And I was like, what a privilege that I've never actually had to worry that if I go on holiday, they might cut me, that they might cut me and marry me off because that's one of the things that happens. I've never had to worry about my family going against my autonomy of my body and my right to choose. And that's a privilege.
That's a privilege.
And that's a privilege that out of every 100 girls and women in my community, 78 don't get to choose. Right?
Yeah. And it shouldn't be a privilege.
Imagine.
It shouldn't be a privilege. It should be respect to the woman's body. Like,
exactly.
We don't get
like, this is one of those things that for me personally, even when I'm at home, I'm usually so blown. I'm like, how is this still something that we are still having conversations about? But I know we will get deeper into it and understanding why this is something that's still. So yes, that really sums up why I now got even into the space more. Of course, after I started working, I had to support one or two projects that was dealing with advocacy against FGM. So that's how I even got deeper and deeper now.
Is that the point where now you switched?
So yes, a combination of my conversation with my grandma and me coming into the workspace and having to support projects and programs that are doing the same. So that was really my point of marination, for lack of a better word, guys. Honestly, yeah.
So I really like how you mentioned that your grandmother made a joke. One thing, how did that make you feel when she said that joke?
So, and this might come off as insensitive, of course, to the women who have been perpetuated this type of violence against. But it really didn't make me angry. That's not what it did. It didn't make me angry. It just made me realize that the heaviness that we carry, or the heaviness that me and you view female genital mutilation to be, is not the same heaviness that the community carries with. So, it makes you look at the community now in a different way. Yes. Because, initially, especially when you're an outsider and you hear there's a practice like this, you're angry and you're like, why is something like this still happening, right? And then you're within the community and you see how, and you realize that you need to get to the community level to be able to further understand or to dethrone this particular kind of belief and look at perspective of female genital mutilation. Yes.
You've mentioned community, and that was actually leading me to our next question. Because it's not that these girls are doing it to themselves. It's not
Sometimes.
oh wow, what?
We'll get into that.
What? That is, wait, what do you mean sometimes?
But when you think about it, you will see that culture is like the society's pressure is still the
there,
core. It's the core. Yes.
Clearly.
Yeah.
Because I was going to ask you, of course, it's not, even if you've said vile umesema tu kuna watu wengine wanajifanyia wenyewe. It's not out of the blues.
Yeah.
It's come from a history of something at the back of the mind. It's come from something rooted within.
Yeah.
And community is one of the things that are really rooted within it, because there are people who are doing it, there are people who will prepare you. It's the whole group of people. So for those who don't really understand FGM, what is the simplest way you can be able to break down FGM and also the involvement of the community?
Okay.
Yeah.
So by definition, right, FGM is female genital mutilation. Previously, they would call it female genital cutting. But just back to what I was trying to say, the power of language, the power of using the correct language so that it carries the way that it does. Yeah. So female genital mutilation is the partial or complete removal of the clitoris and the labia minora or labia majora of the female vagina for non-medical reasons. Yes.
Now that you said non-medical reasons, if somebody is to say, okay, who is it for? Who is it for? Because some people will try to equate it to male circumcision. And then, but in this perspective, I've never had a case. Okay, maybe there are very minor cases of course, the circumcision not being done properly for the male, and it can lead to severe issues. But that's at the very minute case, because most of the times for them it's a rite of passage. It's a way of life. It's something that ought to be done, and in different communities it's done differently. So now, what can you say is the difference between these two things?
Okay, so of course, we see that there is tested and proved medical advantages of male circumcision, not going into religion and the reasons, because different religions have different reasons why they do it. But medically, we see that one, it reduces the chances of transferring of HIV transmission for men. Like, that's one of the key reasons. And I know it's also for quote-unquote hygiene purposes as well. So we see that there's medical advantages to it.
Yeah.
But then female genital mutilation, at its core, is the patriarchal system. It's based on taking away the right of women to choose, the right of women to have bodily autonomy. Contrary to having medical advantages, it has multiple physical and psychological effects to women. And one of the things that you asked is, so where does the community come in? And how does the community see FGM, right? And just to tie down to male circumcision is done as a rite of passage, right? Where now we start looking at boys as men. And people who are supposed to take certain responsibilities, etc., etc. So the community equally looks at female genital mutilation as a rite of passage. Because when girls go through female genital mutilation, now they're told, now you're women, now you're supposed to behave like this and like this and like this. And it never goes where the community, I think, would want it to go. Yeah. So that's how the community looks at it. It's a rite of passage. It's a form of acceptance into the elite, right? Now you're part of us. Exactly. That's how the community looks at it.
Yeah. But I feel like that can also, as a woman now, looking at it as a woman perspective, that can also, you can feel, maybe somebody can feel so conflicted, because as women, we've been raised, and when you're a small girl, you're told, when you start your period is when you become a woman. That is when you're now a woman.
Yeah.
So now you're imagining a 13-year-old girl, grown up her entire life knowing, when I start my periods, I'm a woman.
Yeah.
And at the same time, you're being told, oh no, we have to cut you for you to be a woman.
Yeah.
How conflicting can that be for a girl?
I feel like it's, as we can say that culture is like a way of life, right?
Yeah.
It's the social bit, it's the economical bit, it's the political bit. So socially, we all come from different cultures.
Yeah.
And it forms a part of our identity.
Yeah.
So if a part of your identity has always been, because in communities that practice female genital mutilation, the ultimate rite of passage is being cut. And sometimes it's the periods that dictate you being cut, because now you are a woman, right? So one of the older narrations around female genital mutilation is that when you take girls through the mutilation, rather, they stop being, for lack of a better word, it cuts on their libido, right? So it makes you
less sexually
aroused. So, that's a good thing for women, because they need to be pure and stuff like that, right? So they know that around your period, then that means you're now becoming a woman. So that period is used as a sign that, and as an indicator that it's time for you to go through.
So it's like your period is used against you.
Yes, it is.
It's directly, damn, that's scary.
I know.
That is so terrifying.
It really is. And on matters terrifying, do you know that the people who take girls through the mutilation are your aunts, are your mothers, your grandmothers?
It's so funny. We were having this conversation literally just when we were shooting with Val, and we were talking about the question of consent, because now we're imagining in FGM there's no consenting there. You have been forced into it.
Yeah.
So it's whether you like it or like it, it's happening.
Yeah.
So with that, consent is already out the window. And then when you look at it also, you wonder, okay, this is being done to me for the sake, as you mentioned earlier, for the patriarchal system.
Yeah.
Because you're now trying to repress something that women naturally have within themselves. Because the libido is normal. It's some we all go through it.
It is a right.
Yeah. Exactly. And then now having your period used against you, something that God gave you, your body is built like that.
Yeah.
Being used against you, that's very terrifying.
Yeah.
And I can imagine the effects that it also has psychologically and also socially within the family. Are there any cases that you're comfortable to discuss or to share some experiences of cases that you've handled?
Maybe I might not be able to explicitly talk about cases because of the issue of consent
and privacy,
right? But I could go into some of the physical and psychological effects of FGM. So, of course, one of them is the clitoris, the labia minora and labia majora. So let me just mention this. With FGM, we have 4 types of FGM.
Okay.
Right? And the differences in the types is the severity of the cut. So, for example, the first type is the cut, either partial or complete removal of the clitoris. It's called clitoridectomy. And then we have type 2, which is excision, which is the removal of the clitoris and the labia minora. And then type 3 is defibrillation, where we're seeing there's the removal of the clitoris, the labia minora and labia majora, and then there's sewing, right? So you're sewn together after the act, right? So this is the severest form. Of course, all forms of FGM are severe. And we've seen over time that there's a lot of movement now towards type 1 of FGM, even within the communities. And then type 4 is anything else that you do to the vaginal area.
Damn, that's
So
scary.
piercing or pinching or making it longer, all of those are now falling under type 4.
Damn, because I know making it longer is something Ugandans
Yes, that's
do.
that's FGM that the Ugandans practice.
Damn.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I didn't even know that there were 4 types.
Yeah, it's types to this thing. Imagine there's levels.
Way. That's a lot to take in also.
It is.
Because whenever I hear, also, because of course it's not the first conversation I've had with when it comes to FGM, but in depth. And nobody has ever mentioned that there are types.
Yeah.
And I'm imagining, okay, if me, I didn't know, how many other people don't know this?
How many?
And then we also, now you've mentioned something about, again, the grandmothers, the aunts, the fellow women doing this. Because these are fellow women doing this to the girls and their newly brought on women. you know. And again, it seems that this is all for the satisfaction of the men. Because I just yesterday was having a conversation and this guy was telling me that he had an sexual interaction with a lady from now the Islamic community. And her family practiced FGM on her.
Yeah.
And he was like, she wasn't feeling anything.
Yeah.
She would clearly look at me like, there's something inside me, but I don't feel a sense of pleasure.
Yeah.
Until now we go to what we now like calling Sim 2, is when she gets a sense of pleasure.
Yeah.
So that already tells you, you're really trying to shut off pleasure of women for their bodies to just become objects of pleasure to men.
Yeah.
So how does this sit with the women in the communities?
So, this kuna hii methali ya kitambo, I can't, of course, quote it word by word, but you can only be as hurt as you are aware, right?
Yeah.
So that's why sometimes we even stick in situations for so long that were not serving us, but because we didn't have the awareness to it, right? It's not something that is actively in our minds, okay? Because let me give you an example, right? You're cut at the tender age of 14, right? And you get married off 15, 16, right? So the person that you're married off to is the first person that you engage with sexually. Do you really know anything about sex?
No.
No, really. We all know that sex is for procreation, that's for sure. There's other things to it. But do you know? No. No one taught you about it. So would you ever really be able to know that there's a problem unless someone ever brings it up, right? So the work around FGM has been going on for about 20 plus years. Started in the late 90s, has really progressed, right? Because I can't really remember the statistic completely, so let me not mention it. But overall, it used to be higher than 14%. So this work has evolved so much. At the beginning, it was, let us talk to communities as a whole, right? Now it has really progressed that we are having survivors of FGM leading the conversation. So we are not just talking about theory. It's women and girls who have gone through the pain of the cut, through the pain of giving birth after the cut, which is one of the physical effects of female genital mutilation. You can either develop fistula, right? So for the viewers, fistula is a medical condition that girls and women face when they are giving birth, where there is a complete cut, such that the way there is
you tear between your vagina to your
anus. Yes. So that's quite bad.
That's terrible.
Yes. So that means if you want to pee, if you want to go for a long call, you're not able to hold yourself. So
I'm just thinking of that pain.
Right? So another thing that happens that survivors best know, more than theory, is there's obstructed labor, right? Because you see, the thing is, when you're mutilated, it becomes a wound,
Yes.
right?
Yeah.
So that means, basically when a woman is giving birth and her vagina is opening up and
The
her
wound is
cervix,
opening
so
again.
so there's two things, right, that happen. One is the wound often opens up again.
Yes.
So you have to heal again. And keloids might come because of that wound opening and closing and opening and closing. Another thing is obstructed labor, because then that means that your muscles are not able to move like normally
properly.
they would be able to dilate or contract or whatever happens, so that a baby is pushed. So that can cause a lot of complications during birth. So either like super long hours of being in labor, complete tearing down there, causing things like keloids and fistula. So as I was saying, we have really progressed in the conversation around FGM, such that we are having survivors come at the forefront and talk about this. So when you go to the community right now, for the people that they have had the conversation, right? The women especially, they are able to reflect a little bit different. Because, for example, the women who had to give birth when there was no conversation like this, they had to go through the physical effects of FGM silently, just waiting to heal.
For it to end.
And because FGM is perpetrated by patriarchy, it means that even being able to voice this kind of pain that you're going through was almost impossible. Yeah. So yes, there is now the awareness that is in the community. Now women are able to voice what they think about FGM a bit different, but there's still a long way to go. Because you'll be surprised that women who have gone through FGM are more likely to cut their daughters.
What?
Yes.
That's very interesting to think about it. And you are right. Like, I think that's something even in my head, I'm like, okay, definitely if a mother has been cut, she will advocate for her child to be cut. And now just thinking about it also from a psychological point of view, that's a lot of trauma dumping.
Exactly.
I went through this, I suffered, you're a girl, you gotta go through it and suffer like me. That's what made me a woman. That's what's gonna make you a woman.
Exactly.
And it really questions a lot, because it makes you. I can imagine a girl would now feel like, okay, I have no one. I'm all alone in this space.
Yeah.
And now it brings me now, when we now come of people who are not within the communities now, people who want to see this episode and to understand, okay, this is something that we need to figure out a way together how we can work on it. So how can we now, the other young people who are not within these communities, be able to not just advocate for FGM to come to a halt, but also to keep educating people, advocating and educating, because you can't just advocate for something without replacing it with education.
Yes.
Because as you said, for very many people, it comes from a place of lack of information and knowledge. So how can we find that balance? Where do we now be like, okay, this is not culture.
Yeah.
Where do we draw this line? Because we can't allow it to keep being gray.
Yeah. So fun fact, right? I was in a meeting earlier today in Kajiado before I came in. And one of the things that I said, because we were rolling out a new program, I said that one of the things that we're trying to do as the Youth Anti-FGM Network for this particular program is to make sure that FGM is no longer a get-kept conversation. Me and you in the room, we know that it's happening. We know that we know the prevalence, and we know that it's a grave violation against women and girls. But how many people out there, people in marketing, people in, I don't know, all the other jobs that people do, how many of them do they know that FGM is still something that is happening?
And it's this serious.
Exactly. It is a matter to be taken with grave seriousness. So first of all, I think where we draw the line between culture and it being, where do we draw the line with culture, right? As I said, my roots are Maasai and Samburu, right? And I believe that we have such a beautiful culture. I really love our language. I really love how it sounds. I love our songs so much. All of us have, both men and women, we have a similar way of dancing, which is so funny. It's just like, And it's so magical when all of us are doing it, and our dressing, we are called the butterfly community because of how
colorful.
That's so beautiful.
Yeah.
And I think that's a good part of culture. Because then it keeps on bringing people together. It creates unity. It creates a sense of belonging, which is why initially culture is supposed to be there. But for me, and I believe for many other people, where we draw the line with culture is when it starts being harmful in a way that it violates the human rights of individuals.
Yeah.
And when it comes to violating the human rights of individuals, what does that look like? Like, for example, one, taking away the right to choose for someone. That's a grave violation of human rights. Taking away the right for bodily autonomy for people to choose when and what to do with their bodies. That's harmful. And I think that the line is quite clear. I know not many people may be able to see it like that, but for me, it's quite clear. As soon as any cultural practice starts to violate human rights, then that's culture that is harmful, and that's culture that needs to be spoken about.
Yeah. And
called out and be evolved out of. Yeah.
Do you feel like young people within your community are pushing this envelope of saying this is wrong, guys? Like, what are you guys doing? Do you feel like there are more people within, specifically in your communities, do you feel like more young people are questioning this? Because personally, as somebody now who is not within your community, I question a lot of things within culture. Like, I question almost everything.
Yeah.
Because I'm like, the math is not mathing in some places here. Even some things that we see are normal.
Yeah.
When you really look at it, you're like, guys, this is not too normal.
Yes.
I don't know what you're talking. So within your community, do you feel like young people are questioning?
Oh, yes, definitely. There's levels to it, though. There's levels to it.
What are the levels that you've experienced?
So, I would say, first of all, like within the community, I've seen a multitude of young people who have gone before me, who are doing it with me right now, and some who are coming up, who are very vocal about being against female genital mutilation. I've seen men protect their sisters and their cousins, because of course they are highly regarded in the community. I've seen them protect, rescue, and save. So yes, young people are definitely speaking up. Like at the network, we have like 5,000 plus young people and youth-led organizations amongst the 17 counties that we have chapters who are actively doing the work, who are not being paid to do the work. Because when you're part of the network, it's a membership-based. It means you're doing your own thing around FGM, but now you're under this umbrella. Yeah. So yes, young people are definitely using their voices so much right now. But then the other thing is, the thing that continuously perpetuates FGM is the patriarchal system, right? I know patriarchy is not an individual. It's a system.
Yes, it's a system.
It's a system that, I'm supporting the system in my own way. Someone else in my community
We're all supporting the system and we're all benefiting from it one way or another.
Yes. So when I say that there's levels to it, right? There's levels to how much we have detached ourselves from patriarchy. So if one person has detached themselves 70% from patriarchy, then how much they use their voice and their presence to fight female genital mutilation is definitely higher than someone who has detached only 40% from patriarchy. Let me give a really good example, right? Me personally, I've detached 100%. I believe that women should be able to do anything that they want with their bodies because it is their bodies. But then there is person B who has detached from the patriarchy quite much, say 60%, right? They understand that it's it's like a grave violence against women and girls. They understand the psychological and the physical effects of female genital mutilation. They have done community dialogues where they have spoken to the elders and the chiefs and telling them, we need to stop it. But at an individual level, they still hold some expectations of women, right? So person B in this story still expects women to be a certain way. Quiet, to be led, to be,
Wash after me.
something
Make sure
like
my
that.
meal is hot.
Yeah. So you see, that person, their activism, it's good. But then there's still remnants within them that are contributing to this kind of culture continuing.
Yeah. I see.
Quite indirectly, right? Because directly we are seeing that they are really doing something.
Yes.
Yes?
Like in Ikwake,
Yes.
behind closed doors.
Yes.
It's like the 60% goes there.
Uh-huh.
They take back the other one they had replaced it with.
Yeah.
And they continue.
Yeah. And that's why we do something called values clarification with people when people have to start doing work that is questioning their way of life.
Yeah.
Where we have to move you from point A of your values to point D so that we start looking at things the same.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's one thing to give someone information. It's another thing for them to process it and internalize it and use it.
Yes.
So, yeah.
And what are the challenges that you have gone through? Like, how challenging can it be when you're now, especially if you're a young lady, you're going into these spaces where, and correct me if I'm wrong, are mostly dominated with men being the ones speaking or addressing people or passing down information and knowledge. But now you're a young lady who's here and you're like, guys, this FGM thing is a no-no.
Yeah.
And then it's, okay, sasa wewe msichana mdogo, unakuja kutuambia nini ya vitu ya mila yetu. What's the POV of that?
Oh, it's so crazy. So of course there's also levels to the work, right?
Yeah.
So sometimes you do work at the community level. Sometimes you're sitting in those county meetings because policies are also important. Yeah. Sometimes you're sitting on global levels because financing is also very key, right? So, when you stand in the community, right? So we do community dialogues, for example, and dialogues include, sometimes it can either be women and men, sometimes it's just men only, sometimes it's the gatekeepers. I don't know what there's a word that we call them, not gatekeepers, but yes, just let me call them gatekeepers of the culture. If you stand as a woman in a meeting that has men only, sometimes you risk them walking out.
Damn.
I know this is something that has happened to people on multiple occasions. Either people moving out or people dismissing what you're saying because, first of all, you're a young woman who has not been cut. So you've not been cut. What do you know about the cut? What can you tell people really about the cut? You're just trying to mislead our women to not go through the cut, okay? Because you're an enemy of the system. So anytime you speak against a system that has been supported by the hushed tones of people, then you will always face a backlash.
Yeah.
And, some of the young people who would really, really love to be vocal at the community sometimes are held back by the fact that they don't want to be segregated from the community. Because, when a system has been supported by hushed tones, if you come in and you're a loud tone, then you are an enemy of the people.
Yeah, you're an enemy.
So you face the risk of being segregated from the community. I know the bottom line is all of us are human beings and we are trying to fit in, to exist, to belong. So, you try and
stay alive.
Yeah, and you weigh and you're like, am I really willing to give away my sense of belonging to really, really be a loud activist, right? I mean, who would want to be known that they blew the whistle on a girl who was about to be cut? What do you imagine the community will do to you?
We've seen what happens to whistleblowers.
You have seen what happens to whistleblowers. Now imagine in close-knit communities.
That feels even worse because it's like, you are destroying our community.
Yes.
You're messing up with our system.
Things that have been in existence for so long. So, number one, as a young woman, and speaking on behalf of other young women, there is there's a lot of what can I say? Kuonewa. One, through the lens of gender. Number two, kuna kuonewa through the lens of age, which is a barrier that we face.
Yeah, as young people.
Because how old are you again? And give you the
mtoto mdogo. Unakuja kutuambia nini sisi
what can you tell us? Right?
Yeah.
Another thing that is in close relation to age, right? There's a lot of hierarchy in community.
Yeah.
And most of the time, the people who sit on top are
Old ones.
and
They're men.
right? So this is a double tragedy,
Yeah.
right?
Damn.
Because if the same men who are the custodians of this culture are the ones who are standing in spaces and are the ones who kind of lead, it means that they reinforce this same
Same things.
is the things that we are trying to fight, right? So
Ndio
those are
wanarudisha.
yes, and of course number 3, financing for young people.
Yeah.
I know we've done a bit of progress with funders funding young people, youth-led organizations and stuff like that, because the work needs to be done and the work needs resources.
Yeah, and
to
how
be
is
done.
it? How is not the funding aspect of it? What are the challenges that you face? Because I'm imagining, because of course, when this money is coming from outside Kenya or Africa, these are people who just hear of FGM.
Oh, tell me about it.
They're like, how bad is it? It gives that vibe. When I'm imagining now, I'm sending a proposal. I'm just imagining some old white guy with like, how bad is it? They're just going through a cut. So what are the challenges that you face through also with getting through to donors?
Yeah, so I definitely think one of the things is when you don't live within the community, it's hard to understand why they do it, right? With limited understanding of why they do it, for me comes the limited understanding of what should be done to address the issue, right? So sometimes calls for proposals and funders have this very thin or rather a narrow way of doing things, right? So they come in and they say that we've seen this is a problem and they understand the gravity of the problem. But then they're like, this is what you need to do. But then we are like, that doesn't work.
That doesn't work.
It can't give you the results that you're looking for.
Yeah.
Right? So that's one of the problems. When there is very little wiggling room to do the activities that you personally have seen work before. And then number 2, when it comes to young people, there's still the bit of, so for example, capacity for young people to run things.
Yeah.
Funding sometimes can be quite hectic.
Yeah.
Because there's so many requirements that are needed before money is given.
Yeah.
Granted that, we're giving money. We've seen people have briefcase NGOs, take money and do nothing. So granted, right? But when it comes to young people and youth-led organizations, it's a disadvantage. Because, Marika, do you really have money to come up with 10 different policies that govern your organization? Do you even have money to pay for your office? So what do you mean we're not giving money unless you have an office? How about you give us the money first so that we have
the office?
Of course, there's also the lens of young people that young people are not to be trusted so much.
Yeah.
So, and when it comes to funding, there is a lot of trust that needs to be created.
Everything with money.
Yes,
they need trust.
Yes, exactly. So those 2 things limit how much young people are able to do when it comes to funding. But slowly, the young people who are already in the space are really doing a lot to advocate for grants and for funding that is, 1, specifically for young people, or 2, there's a lot of advocacy to cut on some of the extra requirements for a youth-led organization to get money. So right now you can see even grants that say both formal and informal youth groups.
That's registered and
non-registered. Because not registering an organization is like 20K.
That's another 20K.
Yeah,
then there's a whole KRA waiting for you, like...
Come here, my darling. Yes.
So you've said that, and that's actually now tethering us to almost the last area that we're going to discuss, which is our country itself. Kenya. We always have to talk about government.
Yes.
Whether we like it or not, we got to talk about government.
Yes.
And I don't personally, I don't really know what exactly is how hard are the efforts of our current government and the government before. How strong are their efforts in addressing not just addressing FGM, but stopping FGM, educating about FGM. And also, because, these girls also need a safe space.
Yes.
Because I'm imagining if the cut has happened to you, it also makes you lose trust in almost everyone around you. Because you're like, you can't see your mom the same way. You can't see your aunties, your grandmas the same way.
Yeah.
You don't even want to look at the men in your community because, like, this is just being done for you guys.
Yeah.
So what is the government doing? Are they just chilling and waiting to enjoy the harvest? Ama wanasaidia kidogo mahali?
Yeah. So actually the government of Kenya is quite present in the fight against female genital mutilation. For example, in Africa, we are the only ones who have a national board for anti-FGM.
Wow.
We have a specific board, the anti-FGM board, that sits within the Ministry of Gender and something, and they are funded. We will talk about the funding later. I definitely do not think it cuts to even a quarter of the work that they are supposed to do.
Doing.
Yes. So we have a fully functioning board that is present within the different counties. Of course, their headquarters is in Nairobi, but they are so much in touch at the ground. So, at the county level. So within the gender space, there is the technical working group, right? So there's the national one, they sit there. At the county, they sit there. Then we have anti-FGM steering committees in all the counties that are still perpetuating female genital mutilation.
Yeah.
So this means that they have their ears on the ground. Yes. They have supported policy formulation. So of course there's a bigger policy. In 2011, they launched the Prohibition of FGM Act 2011. It's currently under review. There is the framework that was released in 2019. And then a good number of these counties have their own specific anti-FGM policies that the board has helped them to create. Because the FGM that happens in Northeastern is not the one that happens in the
in the Maasai community.
In the Maasai community. Sindio. So lazima zote zikuwe na different points. Exactly, contextualization. Yeah. So there's that. There's this coordination between now the board and the steering committees and the technical working groups. They have a good coverage of who works in what counties. Yeah. And because of that, that's very, very important, because then that means that when funders come in, they have a designated place to go to.
Yeah.
So then they're able to walk into this government institution, and this government institution is able to tell them, this county and this county, they're the counties that need money. Because then it would be so bad if we didn't have any central coordination, such that when people came, they would just be putting money anywhere and anyhow, and we are not able to know. Because, even how serious the government is with FGM is, it's literally in the KDHS, the Kenya Demographic Health Survey. It's one of the things that's taken count of.
Wow.
That's why we're able to know it's at 14%.
Okay. Thank you, government.
Yes. However,
I spoke too soon. I spoke way too soon.
Way too soon. However, the gravity of the issue and the budget allocation from the government is a joke. Yes.
So what does the budget look like? If you have a rough figure.
It's a joke. I promise you.
It feels like this is a PR stunt that they've done. Like being on the ground is now, having the ears on the ground is feeling like a whole PR stunt.
Yeah, because they really do. The board really wants to do the work. But because they are funded and financed mainly by the government, of course, there's other external.
Yeah.
But then these are 2 years, 3 years, 5 years, we are gone. The government needs to be very, very serious. Because, 15% of the overall government budget needs to go into health. We are not even at 3%.
What?
Yes.
No.
Yes. The government back in
No.
Samia agreed under this Nigerian, it's a charter, that 15% of the overall government budget needs to go to health. We're not even at 3%.
And people are wondering why Shifsha is not working.
Exactly.
People are wondering why there are ghost hospitals. And now you've heard how now this man wants to take over Nairobi Hospital.
I have
You're
seen.
like, you're supposed to be giving 15%. You're not even giving 3%.
Exactly. So, the Ministry of Gender as a whole is underfinanced. I don't want to say for obvious reasons, because it should be for obvious reasons. Is it that we are not taking gender issues as serious as they are supposed to be? That's why we are underfinancing them. We are cutting their budgets, etc., etc.
So you want to cut a budget, ndo ongeze state house budget.
Sindio.
And you're there doing the math.
Not my words, guys. Malika's
Mimi
words.
nimesema, you guys can quote me. You guys know me, I have no fear. But it's true.
Yes.
So now you're hearing these cases and you're like, wait, hold up.
Exactly.
You're underfunding things
Yes,
that desperately need proper funding.
Exactly. Because
to put money into now the White House, White House, into the State House. And State House not the one to give it a bigger budget than the White House itself.
Yes.
And you're like, what's going on here? Like, nini?
Exactly. So that affects how much work and how much progress can be made when it comes to the fight against FGM. But the former president was really big on FGM. He did, there was a Samburu declaration with the elders. He was there. So declarations are done with elders so that elders can say, oh, we have refused FGM. Blah, blah, blah. Tumekataa hiyo maneno. And we say mambo ni matatu, kataa, katisha, zuia. So the government has played its part. It can definitely do way better.
It can do
especially
way
with
better.
Financing. Yes. We appreciate the recognition of the gravity of the matter, but then recognition should come with resources.
Yeah, it's like saying, kuja ufanye kazi, utakulipa na exposure.
Yeah.
Because this is feeling like one of those.
Talk to them.
Utakulipa na exposure.
Ogopa.
Damn, but it's that's very alarming. As much as people keep saying that things that we're mad about.
Yeah.
And then when we start getting into the finer details, they're like, okay, my anger is quite justified here because I didn't know that it was that bad that not even 3% is being put towards our health system. And our health system is going to shit. And right now the US is holding us hostage in that they want to give us a new medical system and so that they can give us a loan. But now you're like, do you know how dumb that is? Because even them, they're already defunding a lot of their medical schemes.
Yeah.
So your health system is already messed up. And then you want to come to Kenya. Ati tutawasaidia kutengeneza yenyu. But you have to give us, and then we have to give, they now have all our data, our health data, which is scary.
Quite much.
That is very scary. And how does that make you feel about now as an advocate, especially because what you're dealing with is completely, entirely on health? How does that make you feel?
Yeah. So, data right now runs the world, right? That's why we have so many upcoming policies around data protection, consent taking, because then data has the power to run the world. So the question for me is, and I think I speak for a lot of advocates, why is there so much hidden agenda within? I mean, the deal is too good. I mean, didn't you guys the other day say that you're taking everyone's funding because there's no way that the American taxpayers' money is being used in countries or whatever. And then now you're coming back and you're offering this other quite good deal.
After you cut off funding people.
And the one thing that you're asking for, okay, of course, one of the things that you're asking for is access to our data. Let me give an example of what this could happen, what this could do, right? We use data. One of the ways that we use medical data is to forecast whether there's going to be a disease outbreak or the prevalence of a certain disease, okay, so that we can start putting measures in place, right? So we give them access to our data. And now they can see a particular trend. And then with this trend, let's say the trend is leading to disease X. then what they can do, for example, is start producing and manufacturing medicine that they can in turn come and sell back to us in form of pharmaceutical companies, right?
Big pharma.
It's really about who runs the world.
It
and
is.
Data is
You're
running
right.
the world. So,
You're right.
yeah, my thoughts on that.
And I think you're absolutely right, because it's scary. And with that deal, our courts will have no say with our data.
Yeah.
And it's, you people, you think about it, like, this government really doesn't give a shit about us.
You really don't.
Because dude, these people are coming and taking information about your people, who are then going to decide, you know what, we're going to manufacture medicine for your people, but we have to sell it to you.
Yeah.
And then don't forget, we're giving you a loan, so you also have to pay us back.
Yeah.
Like, what? You sit and you're like,
sense.
Please make this make sense.
Make it make sense.
Like, the math, there's no math there.
There is really no math.
There's nothing about math, not mathing. Hakuna hesabu inaendelea hapo.
None at all.
And then, this is why also personally, now, me, I'm a very advocate. I'm quite big with Pan-Africanism. And I come and when I go into the history of even where we are as Africa now, this is the same thing that were done to our ancestors back in the day. How many... They lied to people who were giving you vaccinations. They infected them with what? Cholera and syphilis.
Yeah.
And they're doing the exact same thing right now. And then our leaders are like, no, here.
Yeah.
Just take.
Exactly.
You're the ones who know and we don't know.
Yeah.
And it's, come on, guys.
It's really wild.
In a continent with a Traore, we have who we have. And you're like... Really, guys?
Exactly.
Are you sure you're from the same motherland?
Is the continent the same?
Is this the same?
Yeah.
And it's terrifying again. And I think it's even, I don't know if I'm the only young person who feels like this, but it's pulling young people out of now modern medicine. Like, for me personally, I try as much as I can not to have to deal with modern medicine.
Yeah.
I am somebody who is so in with traditional medicine. I even the time I had a very very bad period cramps, and modern medicine didn't help me for like 2-3 years. So I was like, you know what, let's go traditional.
Yeah.
And it helped.
Yeah.
To the point now, even the other women, I'm like, hey, if you have a problem, you've gone to umenda hosina ikitu eja kusaidia, mi najua daktari. I know somebody.
Who
and
can,
not at it's a daktari from the skies or whatever. Somebody you see the work and holds merit and you can give trust. Now, as we're wrapping up, we want to have a last system check where we have discussed FGM. We have seen the potholes that we have in the system. What is our diagnosis? What is your diagnosis that you want to tell our audience and our country?
To the young people, we are the next mothers, the next fathers, the next chiefs, the next nyumba kumis, the next ministers of gender. And I'm talking about this because I'm encompassing everyone who is currently a decision maker when it comes to who gets cut and who doesn't get cut.
Yeah.
We need to understand that culture is very, very important. But then with the responsibility of carrying culture comes the responsibility of thinking twice about whether that particular culture is serving or if it's harming. And female genital mutilation is one of the gravest forms of violence that is perpetuated against women and girls. It is our utmost responsibility to speak up. Heck, I'm not asking anyone to be a loud advocate. It looks something as small as speaking up at home when you hear that a distant cousin, a sister, is about to go through the cut. It's about getting informed. It's about reposting that TikTok that someone is talking about FGM. It's about liking it. It's about engaging in the conversation. It's about realizing that apart from being Val, I have a bigger responsibility to the kind of world that I'm creating and I'm living for the people who are coming behind me.
Yeah.
Speak about something like purpose or something like that. You can call it like that. So yes, we are about 68% of the overall Africa population. So yes, we are at a very important, we stand at a very critical moment when it comes to the future of female genital mutilation. Yes.
You have had it right here from Val. If we do not take control and if we do not steer this ship in the right way, the ones who are behind us are going to suffer the way we have suffered. So it is up to us as the young people. Tuamke vijana, tuamke. And let me know, what cultural things do you disagree with? What cultural things are you like, we need to fight against this? Let me know in the comment section. Malika Ouma has been my name, and this has been Unchecked Notifications, brought to you by Stretchers Youth Organization. And do not forget, the truth will set you free, but first, it will piss you off. See you next time.